Hi, I'm Greta Oliver. Welcome to the EducateU podcast, your roadmap to learning tips, techniques, and strategies to enable your student to successfully navigate the road to and through higher education. Hi there, this is Dr. Greta Oliver. I'm back with episode 3 in a series regarding mental health maintenance for college students. There's actually a mental health crisis going on in higher education, and we just want to talk about it to bring awareness to the situation, and that's why we continue to talk about this particular topic on our episodes. And so, as of this weekend, there were 9 student deaths that occurred on the campus of North Carolina State University in Raleigh. 6 of those deaths, which all started in the 2022-23 academic year, have been as a result of suicide, as opposed to 1 death in the academic year preceding that. And so we already see there's an increase in deaths, particularly right in our backyard, because I am from North Carolina. But I am also concerned about students everywhere. This isn't just happening in North Carolina. It's pervasive. It's happening all over the United States. And so what we're trying to do is bring awareness, as I said before. And so the problem's continuing. And there are several things that we can talk about today. And one of them is, why is this happening? Why are students going through such anguish and mental health issues, and why are they ending their lives? And so there are a lot of people who have varying opinions, but some of the main reasons that people have associated with this particular situation is the COVID-19 pandemic, first of all, because if you think about it, these students that are in college today, they have had to live through pretty much 3 years of the pandemic, which started either when they first started college and is still continuing. And as things have progressed, and we still are not completely out of the pandemic situation, and we can't put that behind us, students experience a lot of trauma as a result of the pandemic, as well as adults. We all experience trauma in being faced with something we had never been faced with before in our lives. And so that is one of the reasons. Also associated with the pandemic are the really other ramifications of it, such as social isolation, the fact that students were told that they weren't being able to gather together, told that they needed to isolate, told that they needed to quarantine. And then as a result of that, students began to feel lonely, students began to feel isolated, and were unable to even reach out to other people as far as face-to-face conversation or contact during the pandemic. And so that within itself is really enough. That traumatic experience is really enough. But then if you think about other things that students are experiencing, for example, all students have to go through or do go through a transition when they first come to college. And if we're just thinking about first-year students, usually that's when it occurs. But first-year students in a pandemic where everything is shifting, changing, and nothing is normal, or what we called normal before, that can also be very stressful, very stressful. And students often don't know how to cope with stress. This can cause anxiety. It can cause a lot of different things, depression. All of these are contributing factors to mental health issues, okay? And so also students are faced with the fact that, yes, they are on campus for a reason. We send our students to campus to obtain a degree. So they may have that worry on them, the academic part of their journey, why they are there, when they have so many personal things or things in their lives and in their environment that are causing them not to be paying much attention to the academic portion of what they need to be concentrating on. There can be financial stress. There can be, as I said before, trauma. There can be loss or grief associated with the pandemic or just with their lives. And they also can have pre-existing medical issues or pre-existing mental issues, such as anxiety and depression. All of that, if there's an excess amount of that and they're unable to cope with that, that can cause issues that are related to mental health. And that can cause it to be a larger problem than it may have been in the past. And so those are many, many reasons why students are experiencing the difficulties that they are right now. There also can be substance abuse problems where they are coping in other ways, perhaps self-medicating, which does not help the issue or the root cause of what they're experiencing. One of the things that is also a really big problem for students and really anybody who is faced with the possibility of mental health issues would be the stigma that's attached to mental health illnesses, and that someone actually requires help to help them cope with life. Students can often be embarrassed or ashamed that they need help. And sometimes people in general just have issues and problems even asking for help. And so that's why when we were talking last, I was stating that a lot of people just really needed to realize that help is something that everybody needs from time to time, but especially in this situation, students need to be able to understand mental health, how it relates to them personally, because sometimes it's often kind of difficult to think, wow, I really need mental health counseling, or I could use somebody to talk to. But that is something that everybody needs to have, is a sounding board, somewhere to vent, someone to talk to, and some help should they need it. So not understanding what that means and how that works with them personally can be really frustrating. So what are universities supposed to do about this? Well, there are many things that can be done, but the main thing would be support, providing support for students. Another thing would be continuing to talk about what is going on and how the university is working toward providing help for individuals that are experiencing difficulty. They can do this in many ways, making sure that they are communicating the support that the university has for the students, actually having support systems set up that students can take advantage of, hiring more mental health counselors that can help students, making sure that the process of receiving mental health services is seamless and that it's timely, and that people that need help will be able to get help, establishing call centers or hotlines or helplines that students that are experiencing difficulty or know someone who is experiencing difficulty can call in for immediate help, because that when a suicide is being considered, we need immediate help. We don't need to be put on waiting lists or told that you don't have anything available. So making sure that those services are available and that they're timely. Also, one thing, or actually two things that North Carolina State has put into play would be telehealth options, where students can call in 24 hours a day and be able to talk to or discuss what's going on in their lives with someone that's available to help them. They also have employed other counselors, more counselors on campus that students can take advantage of. And they have also established at least 2 wellness days where they have allowed students to just take a break and not have to report to class and just take a mental health break where they can actually breathe, relax, and try to, get themselves to a point where they're able to function. And those are beneficial to everyone. Everyone is tired. Everyone is overwhelmed. And so these days are really beneficial as well. UNC has also instituted a wellness day, at least one that I know of this particular semester. That's very, very important because at least it shows that the universities are understanding what's going on and they're trying to do something about it. So there's a lot of things that can be done and hopefully are being done across the United States to help in this crisis. It's very, very important that we make students feel comfortable and also feel that they can get help and are not made to feel embarrassed or ashamed should they need help. So we've been talking about how important mental health solutions are and what can be done. And recently I was in Ohio at Ohio University doing a professional development series for the Scripps College of Communication. And we were talking about supporting students. In this case, we were talking about first generation college students and underrepresented students, but the mental health crisis applies to everyone. But we were talking about supporting students and ways in which students need help. And the fact of the matter is emotional support is needed for every student, for every college student, regardless of background, race, or anything. So basically everyone needs help. And so seeing that people are talking about what supports are needed and then putting those particular supports in place is really a good thing. And so we're going to continue to keep you updated about what's going on college campuses and what is being done about it so that hopefully we can get in front of this very, very important issue. Until next time, just take it as easy as you can. Breathe, relax, and if you need help, make sure that you reach out for that help. We don't want to continue to hear about student suicides or students that are in crisis. What we want to do is turn this around for the benefit of all students. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week on EducateU. Thank you for joining us today on EducateU. If you wish, you can send me your questions or comments about the college-going process or the podcast content by sending an email to Dr. Greta at gretaoliverconsulting.com. Also, beginning each week after the podcast airs, check for a companion blog on my website's blog page at gretaoliverconsulting.com. My book, College Roadmap, Essential Tips for First-Time College Students and Their Families, is available for sale on Amazon.com. Join us next week for another tip or strategy to make the road to higher education easier for your student.